about Sileby. I've been there for 4.5 years, mate. So
yeah,
I've seen quite a lot, and I've seen lots of different people's opinions on obviously the club and the stuff like that. So obviously, I've always gotten well with the committee. So I think a lot of people paint it in a bad light sometimes, don't they, and stuff like that. So probably, obviously we've had a couple of new trustees come in, and like O'Riordan and Bond sort of thing. They're obviously come as like a bit of a main sponsor. So we could touch on that sort of stuff. And obviously we've had a lot of change over the past 12 months in terms of like the team and that, from where we were last year to this year, in terms of we lost about over half the squad. Just through lads wanted a different challenge, didn't think they could do it at the UCL, and we needed to refresh as well, sort of thing. So mate, just fire away whatever you want to ask, I'll answer as honest and best I can.
While we're in there, we'll just crack on anyway. But obviously touched on losing lads over the summer and stuff. But we'll go back to the end of last season. Obviously finishing second in the division. Chen's obviously finished above you there. But was it? I mean, I think they finished by quite a few points in the end, wasn't it? But was it? It was quite a close encounter until the last few games, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think like with Chen's, they fully deserve to win it. The work that Dave and Lee and all of the lads at Chen's it's been superb. And I think even this year, I think they've been the surprising team for me. Their pitch is a massive, massive game changer. But then it's a very small pitch, and we went there on Boxing Day, and the keeper got sent off, and we got the result. But they're always in the game, and they make it hard for you. But they're very good at what they do. And like I say, the work Dave's done has been remarkable. The last year we kind of got a lot of games postponed, which made us play on Tuesday, Thursday, and I think we've done it for about 3 weeks, and it become a chore. It become hard work, and it didn't really become enjoyable. And I think there was times where we were even looking at ourselves thinking, are we even going to finish second? And and then you start planning for the playoffs, and it's just it got a chore in the end more than enjoyable.
Yeah, so obviously it was a long season, but you did manage to get to the playoffs, got through to the final, which obviously ended in defeat for you. Did that have much of a say in your squad for the next year? Obviously missing out against Winslow in the final. Did many lads look to leave and sort of take that step up before you knew obviously that you were going to get that promotion?
No, I think even before. It's a bit of a weird thing to say, but obviously going into the final, we kind of got a little bit of a heads up that both teams were going up between us and Winslow, which obviously kind of, when you do lose and you do go up, it's a bit of a technicality and stuff like that. But for the majority of the 3 or 4 years that I've been at Sileby, we've gradually built it up where we've improved every year. So I think a lot of lads chose to move on. For new challenges for different reasons. Obviously in football there's always different reasons why people move on, and whether that's playing closer to home or sometimes it's to do with financial stuff, and that's just part and parcel of football, which happens and we have to accept. But obviously it gave us a bit of a chance to bring in maybe some fresher faces and some younger faces, and I think when we started the season, I think there were 5 or 6 games where we haven't won a game, and you start questioning yourself quite a lot whether you got it right or wrong. But no, I don't feel like that any lads kind of were jumping ship sort of thing or looking to go like that.
No, obviously. So you say you've been at the club about, was it 4 years you've been there?
I think it's about 4.5 years now. Yeah.
Was it always your plan to sort of take charge of the squad? Because you haven't been manager for that whole 4 years, have you?
No, so I'm only 26. So obviously I started off coaching when I was 16, and then I went with John Shanks down to Frapston, and obviously was an assistant manager with Frapston in the combination. It was back then in the Prem, and then obviously Stuart Smethers went over to Sileby, and he gave me a phone call saying he'd like to go in as coaching. So I went over with Faisal and James Wayman at the time as well, and then James kind of took a step back, and Faisal kept playing, and then Faisal obviously had a few personal things like having another kid and stuff like that, which obviously makes a difference. And then obviously since then, me and Stuart have kind of done it between us, and kind of, I've really enjoyed it the past. I think it's probably about a good 3 years now, I think, since we've obviously, me and him have been doing it.
Yeah. So obviously you built a squad there. I mean, for promotion, you like you say, you sort of knew you had the promotion coming. Did that change? Did you look to build on that squad, or was you happy with the squad going into the season?
It was keeping hold of the core. So keeping hold of the players that have been with us for quite a long time, as long as they wanted to stay. Which I think we probably lost one or two, which we're probably disappointed to lose. But the likes of Joe Lewington, Luke Stevens, Jack Doldie, Nathan Burrows. I can't remember who else, but just for rating off a few names there, it's they've been with us for a long time, sort of thing. So keeping hold of them, and it was a chance of just maybe bringing a bit of younger blood in, sort of thing, and probably changing the way we went. And yeah, it's been challenging. Obviously, we've lost probably a few players along the way now that you always get one or two that don't work out, and that's just football. And then you bring in one or two that hopefully do come on and improve you.
Yeah. Well, obviously, one of the lads you did bring in is not so much a young blood, but Elliot Sandy. He's
Yeah.
What was that like? Obviously, being his gaffer for him from what he's been through at like Spalding, being the gaffer position, now going back to playing, is it an easy thing coaching someone who's been in the management side of it?
I think it's really good that we've got Elliot. I think Elliot's experience has been massive. Just we were at a point where we had probably one or too many youngsters, and bringing him in, it kind of just got hold of them as just someone that's got to lead and pull them about and put them in the right position. But Elliot's come in, and he hasn't really got involved in the management side of things, and he's just become a player, and that's what he's wanted to do from the start, which has been great. Obviously, he's there to lean on if you need anything. But for the lads, I think, especially for the younger lads, they've enjoyed him being around. And I think even as much as he's not as quick as what he used to be, but his experience and his head, he's still scoring goals. And he scored at Obi on Saturday, and he was in the right place, right time.
Yeah, no, fair play. It was obviously, has he not sort of lent on any of his lads from Spalding, sort of put them over to Sileby?
No, mate, not really. No, we had he obviously played with Curtis Hartley, but Curtis is obviously dual signed with Wellingborough. He come in Saturday, but apart from that, we've kind of just going with what we've got, and kind of looking to build on next year, sort of thing as well.
Yeah. So obviously planning well underway for next season already, is it?
Yeah, so obviously just looking at areas that we need to strengthen, and kind of just evaluating where we are. Obviously, we are probably short in 2 or 3 areas that we need to just strengthen. But it's just finding the right player that comes along in that sense. You don't want to bring in the wrong character.
Of course.
But it's just adding to the core that we've got.
Yeah. So obviously you're sitting, so you're 12th in the table at the minute. I mean, what are you there? So I'm just having a look. You're about 8 points above, obviously, relegation. There's no danger there, is there? You're 12 points off the playoffs. I mean, what are you looking to achieve this season?
For us, I think the main objective was obviously stay in the division. I think that was the plan at the start of the season. But for us now, I think there's no danger. Well, I say that obviously mathematically there is, but obviously in my head we've done enough to be comfortable for the rest of the year and go and enjoy our football. I think it's now making sure that the lads don't think that they've just got a free pass for the rest of the year. It's making sure that we finish as high as we can, and hopefully finishing around where we are now. And it gives us a good platform to build on for next season, and try and push on higher again. Obviously, it all takes time, sort of thing, going up the ladder.
Have you got, obviously, you say you don't want your lads to relax too much. Do you think, in your mind, can you get the playoffs? Obviously, some great teams in the division at this season.
Yeah, I think it's a bit far off our reach. If I'm being honest, obviously you always say there's a chance until you can't. But just being realistic, I don't think it's going to be possible this year. I think if you look at the league, I think it's maybe 9th or 10th all the way up to 5th and maybe even 4th. I think it's really tight. So I think for them teams, I think it's going to be a really good battle. So I just think it's maybe a little bit out of our reach this year.
Have you sort of earmarked where you want to be next year, or you're not giving that away yet?
See how pre-season goes. Like, see
Yeah.
what happens. There's always a lot of things that can twist and turn, but the main thing will be improving on the league position. And for me, doing better in the cups. Because we got knocked out early doors in the cup, so that'll be one thing that I'm making sure that we're strong to go for the start of the season, especially with the FA Cup. And I've kind of learned a lesson there. Just not probably being as strong as what we should have been at the start of the year to be better in that sort of competition.
Yeah. Do you reckon, obviously, the squad you have built, will the core of that still be together next season? Will it? Do you think?
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I have no doubts that the majority in the core will stay. Obviously, I haven't had them conversations yet.
Yeah, it's early days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's too early, mate. But you never know what happens as well over the off season. So, but I think the majority that will stay and will look to continue with us and kind of carry on.
Yeah, nice. And what's the club saying? Are they backing you? Are they just happy to let you crack on and sort of do your own thing from the pitch side of things?
Yeah, it's they've been really supportive. Even more so over the past year, sort of thing. They've come always supported us, and we've had difficult times and stuff like that, but they've always had our back, sort of thing, in what we do. We've obviously had a couple of new sponsors this year, which has been really good for us, which has obviously helped us on and off the field, really. Obviously, Overridge and the Bond have come in and helped, and Key Conveyance, and there are two that I can name off the top of my head that have really come in, and obviously we've got other ones that sponsor the club for many years. So yeah, like all the clubs and all the sponsors and the trustees have been behind us, and really trying to stick to the goals this season in terms of staying in division and getting finished as high as we can.
Yeah. Obviously, you as a on the playing side of the club, you've got your ambitions. What are the club saying long term? Have they got sort of them new trustees that come in? Have they got long term ambitions for the club, and where they aiming to get, Sileby?
Yeah, I think I say again, it's obviously it takes time, but there's obviously a long-term plan in trying to get to the next step, but obviously things need to be in place for that to happen, and as long as we keep building on the field, then the off the field will hopefully take place, and that will keep things going.
Yeah.
So obviously if they want to get there, it's obviously harder said than done with the teams in the divisions, and but it's doable. It's more than doable.
I mean, there's a real foundation there, isn't there? I mean, the club, they've got great facilities, great pitch, um, locations, pretty good, isn't it? Like, not you got houses around you, and I mean, there's definitely a facility there for a team to take it in their stride and climb the levels eventually, isn't there?
Yeah, I think the facilities are brilliant. I think, like I say, the best Northampton, if you ask me. It's a lovely place to play. Lovely change rooms, get looked after really well. I think, like I say, all the visiting teams enjoy coming to us, and
Yeah.
I think it makes it a little bit harder for us as a team, because obviously when you play on a pitch like that, it kind of teams get up for a little bit more, and they want to come there and beat you on your own turf, sort of thing. And that's probably sometimes it goes against us, but you have to ride it with the storm and go with it, sort of thing.
Who's the groundsman up there? Because I mean, they must spend some hours on that pitch. It's like a carpet, isn't it?
It's actually the trustees, mate. So there's this
Is it?
the three lads that do it: Jeff, Steve, and Rob, and there's one or two more that are now helping them out. So they're obviously getting older, and it's like any club. I think volunteers nowadays has been really tough for clubs, and I think we've seen that over the past few years, especially in Northampton with volunteers. But yeah, they're up there every day, and I think the work that they do is remarkable. It's certainly I can't I can't do that and give up my time in the week and try to help as much as I can, mate. But
Mhm.
with work, it's hard.
Is that? I mean, the pitch is obviously well looked after. Is it frustrating? Obviously, you know, in them bad weather, you know, the game at Sileby, if it's raining, this most of the time, it'll be off. Is that
Yeah,
frustrating from the playing side, or?
um, sometimes, but I don't. Sometimes I think we've only had one game called off at home all year this year. So sometimes the picture of that kind of gets painted too much.
Yeah,
And obviously, it has had problems on the pitch with terms of drainage, and it's took time to get things right. Um, yeah, I do hear stuff like that, but when you're behind the scenes and you know what goes on and you know stuff
yeah.
about the club, you kind of understand at times. So yeah, it can be
More,
frustrating, but it's what it is.
more talk than anything, is it, about games that Sileby getting called off? It's more of a, you know, something that people think that's happening, but it's not as often as you think.
Yeah, well, like I say, we've only had one game off this year at home,
Yeah.
so it's been better than what it is. The pitch has definitely played better than what it has over the past 3 or 4 years, so that's improving. But yeah, like you say, it's one of them things. If it gets called off, it gets called off. We can't do much about it.
No, of course, yeah. So obviously, let's go back to the football side of things. Obviously, game away at OB on Saturday. Uh, big defeat. Sorry, not big defeat. Big victory, 4-0.
Yeah.
Um, what was you thinking going down there? Expecting that? I mean, OB, you know, they're not the best team this year, but I mean, that's a good result, isn't it? No matter who you're playing.
Yeah, I think we were driving down the M1 and quite surprised when we got there. Well, I actually thought it was going to be off when we were driving down the M1, but we got there. It was pitch was playable. Obviously, wet underfoot as you expected, but um, didn't really know what to expect from OB. Didn't have a lot on them. You never kind of know sometimes what you're going to get. But I think we kind of didn't really have to work for it. First half, sorry, they kind of gifted us the goals, and then second half we didn't really have to get out of any gear, sort of thing, to get
No.
over the line. I don't think we had to work for it. But I think that's now 4 wins in the last 6 games. So we've turned a bit of corner. I know the 6 games are quite spread out, but in terms of that, it's been a good return on the points, sort of thing.
It's a good bit of form in it, like you say, and some important victories in there. Obviously, you got your bottom two, you beat Chens, and you beat Rugby Borough off high flying as well. So, you know, it's a good bit of form there, really, if you look at it, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think, like you say, the Rugby Borough result, I think, was a great result. I think we were 1-0 down, and I think we were still 1-0 down after 85 minutes. So to turn it round in that sort of space of time was brilliant. Sens as well, obviously, it's a tough place to go, as I said earlier. That's always a tough place to go and play, but it was a good result. But we've had some good results this year. I think we've took points off teams that have been up there and surprised a lot of the top end of the teams, so like Alstone and even March, who we got this weekend. We were unlucky not to come away with 3 points there. But I think that's what I'm most happy about this year, that we've kind of not been afraid to play against the so-called bigger teams and have a go. And as long as we give a good account of ourselves in terms of what we do in our work rate and stuff like that, as long as we don't get outworked, I'm happy with that.
Is that it then? Obviously, like you say, you've got March coming up the weekend. Is there no real sort of game plan for March? Is it you play your own game and see how the game goes, and you think you've got enough to do?
Yeah, I think we'll set up like we did last time. Set up to frustrate. We know what they've got. They're a good side, good manager. He's a really nice guy. So it's a case of making sure that we do our jobs, more importantly, and then, like you say, as the game goes on, we stay in it. And if you stay in a game of football, you never know what can happen, and you can nick a point or you can nick 3 points. And that's the main thing, is making sure that we're set right and not worried about too much. Obviously, cancel out their threats, but obviously not worry too much about the opposition. But yeah, we'll have a game plan ready to go.
Yeah, yeah. And then obviously you got Leicester and Dav. Dav would be another tricky game, wouldn't it? But,
Yeah, Davs, they're a good side. They've got some very good players as well. So, I think we lost 2-1 against them at their place. I think we were absolutely shocking first half. But second half, we come out and probably, maybe with a draw would have been okay. But obviously, they've got some good lads. They know how to win games of football, and again, they're at the top end in the playoffs, so they'll be pushing, no doubt. And I'm sure Jamie will be adding one or two more as well to get them over the line. And I think they'll be in the playoffs, and they'll have a good shout of being there or thereabouts to winning it.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting league this year, isn't it? I mean, like you say, some real good teams at that top end. It's great to have some Northamptonshire teams in there, isn't it, pushing up there? So
yeah, definitely, it's good to see, like you say, Chen's giving it a good go as well. They've got an outside chance of being there. They're well in there, so until they can't get in there, then you never know what happens.
no. We'll see. Last game of the season as well, big local derby. Chen's last day. That'll be. Do you think it'll be something to play for, or do you think it's always going to be something to play for in that local derby, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, like you say, there's always going to be a case of trying to get something, out of the game to win it and have the right sort of thing. I think, but I think they'll have probably more to play for than what we will in terms of the playoffs. Like I said earlier, I think for us, I think it's a little bit unrealistic, but for them, I think they've got a good chance as long as they keep going strong in the last 11, 12 or 10 games, whatever's left. But yeah, like I say, that sort of game, you always want to win, and you always want to finish the season as strong as you can, because obviously that helps you for next year and your planning and your building.
Yeah, no, fair play. I mean, good season so far, like you say, securing the league. So, wish you all the best for the season remaining. Looking forward, then this is just a bit of fun. But obviously building your squad for next year. If there's one player in the league that you could have off anyone, whose player stands out for you where you've been, who would you have?
I've been impressed with quite a few. I think probably the lad at St Neots, Reece Forth at top. He's obviously brilliant. But obviously, there's no chance of us getting him in, mate. But people like him, probably another lad at Elstone, but they're sort of lads that are kind of out of reach for us. But you can only hope. I think as long as we work within our means in terms of all around the club. I think that's the main thing, and making sure that the culture's right in terms of the dressing room, and you have the right people that are going to buy into what you want to do and what you want to achieve, and want to get to that next level as well. Because I think that's the biggest thing. You need people that are going to drive themselves on as well as the club. So I think that's something that I look at sometimes, especially the younger players as well. Some of the older lads are brilliant as well. Like we've got lads like Joe, Dean Love, even Elliot, lads like that really do give us the older heads, and Rico Alexander as well, older heads that really do help us and get through games. But yeah, having the younger lads that are going to drive the club on into the next sort of the step is something that we'll look at trying to do again.
Yeah. One man I did leave here, which we didn't touch on. Obviously, Nathan Burrows there. He's gone to Diamonds, isn't he? Is that a dual reg, or has he just gone permanent
there? He's obviously gone permanent, but obviously with dual reg kept his registration.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Nate's been with us again for, he was like 2.5, 3 years, something like that, maybe 3.5. But obviously he's been our talisman for a long, long time, and he's scored goals, and I think his record, I saw it the other day, it was it's ridiculous. I think it was nearly won every game or something. So Nathan obviously goes with my best wishes. I was disappointed to lose him and disappointed the way it happened. But obviously that's football, that happens. But Nathan, he's been with us a long time, so become a mate, and I wish him all the best. And obviously he scored on his first game, but a bit of a weird goal to score. But I do wish him all the best, and hopefully he does well.
Did he come to you before we signed and let you know, or did he ask your opinion on it, or was it a case of gaffer him off, or?
A little bit, mate. Obviously, I won't go into detail on it because I don't think that's fair on him. But obviously, yeah, I was more disappointed and shocked that it happened so quick, more than anything. But yeah, like you say, he's a great kid. Great lad. Look, he's a family man as well, so he is proper down to earth, and there's no big ego or package with him. It is what it is, and he says it how it is. So I've got a lot of time for him, and like I say, I wish him all the best.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Obviously, you ain't got to give me any names, but out of the lads that you have come up against, is there anyone you're looking to snatch up for next season that you've got listed?
Yeah, I've got a
Or if
handful,
you...
mate. But obviously, I'm not gonna come on here and say it. I
No,
keep it
no,
to
of course.
myself for now. But yeah, like you say, you're always on the lookout. We've got another lad coming in. Hopefully for the weekend, so which will be a bolster us. All being well, everything goes through. So yeah, just
Yeah.
always looking to try and improve. And like I said earlier, it's finding the right people that are going to come in and do that.
No, fair enough. So obviously you've been there, you say 4 years. Will you just give us a bit of a rundown on if you had to pick your sort of five-a-side team of the players you've had there under your control?
Yeah, I can have a go, mate. Yeah. um, if I had to pick a goalie, I'd have to go with my captain at the minute, Dean Love.
Yeah.
You know, he's always there. You know, time and time again, he's a lovely guy.
I
Centre
met him a
half
few
wise,
times when he was at
yeah,
Chen's. Like, yeah, he was there for a while. Yeah, so
he's
yeah, good
spot
lad
on.
as well.
Probably Ollie Wilkinson in the back. I don't know if you know Ollie, but yeah, Ollie was a captain when I first went there, and he's just a great guy.
Yeah,
And it's a bit of a shame how he finished obviously with his Achilles, um, but yeah, he'd be in there. And I'd have to pick the big man at top, Nathan.
yeah.
No choice. And then in midfield two would have to probably be. Well, I'm gonna have to upset one or two here, and
You can have some
I.
subs if you want.
Yeah, I'll have to go between the three I've got at the minute. Probably have to go Jack Doldie, George Herbert, and Ben Fitzgerald.
Yeah, don't want to upset no one sitting on the
No,
fence
I'm not
there.
upset no one, mate. No, they'll be upset and turn up at it.
Yeah, sit on that fence. But nah, no worries, man.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah. So match at home on Saturday. Be nice to get a few lads up there, wouldn't it? What your crowds like at your home games?
Yeah, I think they picked up this year. So I think last year we didn't really have like much social media activity. I mean, we're not as active on Twitter, but obviously Facebook and Instagram we are, which is kind of we've had someone that's done more the Facebook side of things, which we have seen
Yeah,
an improvement. So last year we were probably averaging about 40, 50 sometimes. It wasn't great, but we've been picking up more now towards like the 90 to 120s just through the Facebook that
yeah.
I'm not very good at that side of things, but we've got someone that is, and they've really been driving it on that side. So we have noticed a massive difference in that, and obviously with that happening, there's obviously been a bit more connection, and we've had a few. We've got about 10 regulars, 10 to 12 regulars that come home and away, sort of thing, which is quite nice, and it's good that they support the club. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really good. Been good so far.
Oh, fair play. Yeah, well, it helps, and it helps clubs obviously when that local community comes out. Of course, it's you pay your match ticket or whatever, but it's small fee for them, but it massively helps the club, doesn't it? So it's obviously we're just encouraging more people to get behind this non-league football scene as we can and push it on. But of course, obviously we'll share everything till we put out anyway.
Yeah,
So yeah, it'd be good to see as many up there as we can. Appreciate your time.
sorry, no
It
worries.
will yeah, best of luck for Saturday. And we'll see you up there sometime soon.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime, Jordan. You know that. It's good to